Before we open this diary, I need to say something. Mary Magdalene has been one of the most lied about women in the entire Bible. For over 1400 years, since Pope Gregory I preached a sermon in 591 AD, conflating her with other women in the Gospels, she has been called a prostitute. She was not a prostitute. Nowhere in the four Gospels is Mary Magdalene identified as a sinful woman, an adulteress, or a prostitute. Not once, not even implied. She was a woman from Magdala, a prosperous fishing village on the Sea of Galilee. She had been healed by Jesus of something the Gospel of Luke describes as 7 demons. She became one of his most devoted followers. She traveled with him and supported his ministry from her own resources. She was the first person to see the risen Jesus, the first witness to the resurrection. And for 14 centuries, the church called her a prostitute. I want to name that before we begin. Because Mary Magdalene's diary is not just about who she was, it's about what happens when the world decides who you are for you, and what it looks like to know the truth anyway. This is Mary Magdalene's diary. Entry 1. Magdala. Imagined backstory before Luke 8:2. I grew up beside water. Magdala sat on the western shore of the Sea of Galilee, a prosperous town, a fishing industry, a marketplace that never went quiet. My family was not poor. I want to say that because the story people tell about me almost always assumes poverty, almost always assumes desperation, almost always assumes that whatever happened to me happened because I had nothing and no one. I had resources. I had standing. What I did not have was peace. I will not catalog what the 7 demons were. I will not give them the dignity of description. What I will say is this. There are conditions of the mind and the spirit that make ordinary life impossible, that turn the world into a place of terror and noise and darkness that no one else can see. I knew what it was to be inside my own head and unable to get out. I knew what it was to be looked at by people who loved me and be unable to reach them through whatever was between us. I knew what it was to be, in the most precise and terrible sense of the word, not free. And then he came. I will not dramatize the moment. I will only tell you what it was like after. Quiet. For the first time in as long as I could remember. Quiet. Not empty, not numb. Quiet. The way a room is quiet after something that was always making noise finally stops. I stood there in that quiet and I understood something. I was free. And I knew, with the clarity of someone who has been given back something they had stopped believing they could have, I knew that wherever he went, I was going too. Entry 2. The road. Luke 8:1-3. Imagined interior. We traveled together. A group of us. Women who had been healed, women who believed, women who had left our ordinary lives to follow a rabbi who had done the extraordinary in each of us. There was Joanna. I want to tell you about Joanna. She was the wife of Chusa, Harold's household manager. Do you understand what that means? She lived in a palace. She had access to the most powerful court in the region. She had comfort and security and a position that most women in first century Galilee could not have imagined. And she left it. She left the palace to walk dusty roads with a traveling teacher from Nazareth. I have thought about the courage that required. Not the romantic courage of someone with nothing to lose. That specific, calculated, eyes-open courage of someone who had everything to lose and chose to lose it anyway. There was Susanna, and others whose names the Gospels did not record. We supported Jesus and the 12 from our own resources. I want to be clear about what that means. We were not camp followers. We were not passive observers. We were funders. We were organizers. We were the infrastructure of the ministry. When the 12 needed food, we provided it. When there were practical decisions to make about routes and lodging, we were part of those conversations too. We were there at every stage, present, committed, using what we had for the work. Nobody wrote our names in the headline. We were in every paragraph. Entry 3. What people said about me. Imagined interior. I need to address something. The story people tell about me. The one where I was a prostitute. I am not a prostitute. I have never been a prostitute. There is a woman in Luke chapter 7, a sinful woman, the text says, who washed Jesus' feet with her tears and dried them with her hair in the house of Simon the Pharisee. That woman is not named. She is not me. There is Mary of Bethany, the sister of Martha and Lazarus, who also anointed Jesus. She is not me either. I am Mary of Magdala. I had 7 demons. I was healed. I followed. That is my story, not the other one. I have thought about why the confusion happened. Why a church that should have known better decided to take 3 different women and collapse them into one and then give that composite woman my name and her sin. Perhaps it was easier. Perhaps a woman who follows Jesus because she was healed of something unspecific is harder to categorize than a prostitute who repented. Perhaps the institution was more comfortable with a reformed sinner than with a woman of resources and standing who simply chose. Who chose without having to hit rock bottom first. Who chose because she was free and she knew who had freed her and she would not be anywhere else. That is the story that gets lost. Not the dramatic one, the faithful one. The woman who was not the worst sinner in the room, who was simply the most committed disciple in it. Entry 4. Following. Luke 8, 1-3, Mark 15, 40-41. Imagined interior. I want to tell you what following looked like. Not the theology of it, the daily reality. It meant walking, miles and miles of walking. Galilean roads in the heat, Sumerian roads in the dust, the road to Jerusalem. It meant listening. Every parable, every teaching, every argument with the Pharisees, every quiet conversation in the evening after the crowds had gone. I was there for it all. Not always at the front, not always named, but there. It meant watching. I watched him heal people. I watched the blind see. I watched the lame walk. I watched him look at people the way no one had ever looked at them before, with complete attention, complete acceptance, complete seeing. I knew what that look felt like. He had looked at me that way before the quiet came, and it meant staying. When the crowds left, I stayed. When the teaching became difficult, I stayed. When the religious authorities began to murmur and then to threaten, I stayed. Following is easy when the road is exciting and the miracles are happening and the crowd is celebrating. Following is something else entirely when the road leads somewhere dark. I did not know then where the road was leading, but I would not have left it, not for anything. Mary Magdalene followed Jesus from Galilee all the way to Jerusalem. She was there when he entered the city. She was there through the teaching in the temple. She was there through the Last Supper, present in the circle, if not at the table. She was there at the cross. When the disciples ran, Mary Magdalene stayed. When the soldiers came and the crowd turned and the man she had followed for years was arrested and tried and condemned, she stayed. The woman who the world called a prostitute. The woman who was never a prostitute. The woman who had been freed from 7 demons and had never once stopped following the one who freed her. She stayed. Next time on Mary's diary, the cross, the tomb, the garden, and the moment that changed everything. One word, her name. Subscribe, because part 2 is coming next week. Also, share this with the woman who has been defined by a label that was never true. Mary Magdalene sees her, and so does the one who said her name.